Happy Halloween, everyone. Oh god. Yeah, sorry guys, I'm a little late with this one. My schedule for video releases hasn't been on track for months now, but whatever, dude. Now, Halloween is probably my favorite time of the year. Nothing quite beats seeing a bunch of ghouls and ghosts around town and people's lawns covered with skeletons. And what's great about Halloween is that as I've gotten older, the Halloween season just seems to get longer and longer. It used to just be where Halloween was October 31st, starting from like 5 p.m. and lasting to midnight. But then it became the whole week before Halloween, and then the whole month of October, and now it's spread all the way back into the entire month of September. So hey, the longer the Halloween season goes, the happier I am. So in the spirit of Halloween, I thought I'd do something a little spooky and talk about an urban legend that actually originates very close to where I live in Northern Virginia. And that is the legend of Bunny Man Bridge. Now, I had no idea that this legend even existed until someone in my high school science class came up to me one day and said, "Hey, you know about the Bunny Man legend?" And much like in the case of the Spam Gangs video, I just had to go and look up some more information about this. Why is there a guy dressed up as a bunny and attacking people with an axe underneath a bridge? Well, the story goes a little something like this. Clifton, Virginia, 1904. A recent petition signed by the local population has shut down the nearby insane asylum, and the inmates were to be transferred to a new facility. "15 transports were sent out of the asylum to relocate the inmates, but one of them didn't make it. The driver and most of the inmates were killed in the crash, but 10 of them managed to escape. Within the preceding weeks, all of the inmates were recaptured by the authorities, all but one. Douglas Griffin was originally sent to the asylum for murdering his wife and children with an axe on Easter Sunday, and now he was loose in the public again. The authorities were in a rush to find him and searched the entirety of the surrounding forest area. They kept searching, but couldn't find any trace of him, except within the forest, they came across the carcasses of dozens of half-eaten and mutilated rabbits. The only explanation for their appearance could have been Douglas Griffin. Eventually, the authorities came up to a bridge, where they found the remains of gutted rabbits hanging from the top of Colchester Bridge. Douglas Griffin was never found, and from that day on, he was known as the Bunny Man. And for all we know, he's still out there in these forests, feeding on the bodies of rabbits. And that's the origin story. But the legend doesn't end there. There's a reason why the story has captivated the people in Northern Virginia, and that's due to certain events that took place in the 1970s. On October 22nd, 1970, the Washington Post ran a piece titled, "Man in Bunny Suit Sought in Fairfax." Now what's all this about? Well, on the night of October 19th, 1970, a US Air Force cadet and his fiancée were visiting relatives in Burke, Virginia, when they parked their car in a nearby field. As they were sitting in the front seat, they started to notice something moving in the rearview window, when suddenly the front passenger window was smashed open and a mysterious white figure was standing there screaming at the couple. The cadet immediately turned the car around and drove away as fast as he could, while the man was heard screaming at them,
"You're on private property, and I have your tag number!"
After the couple were a ways down the road, they noticed that the object thrown through the window was a hatchet. The cadet later described the man as dressed in a white suit with long bunny ears, and the Washington Post reported that Fairfax County Police were looking for a man who likes to wear white bunny rabbit costumes and throw hatchets through car windows. Honest. Now luckily, neither of the two passengers were injured, but they were definitely scarred. When asked about the incident some 40 years later, the fiancée's aunt said she very clearly remembered combing glass from the shattered glass window out of the girl's hair. But the story doesn't end there either. 2 weeks after the incident with the car, there was another incident with a private security guard named Paul Phillips, who claimed to have spotted the rabbit carrying an axe around a newly constructed house. When he tried to talk to the man, the rabbit started chopping away at the roof support of the new house and screaming,
"All you people trespass around here. If you don't get out, I'm gonna bust you on the head."
By the time Phillips went back to his car to get his gun, the bunny man had run off into the woods. The Washington Post ran this story in a piece titled "The Rabbit Reappears" on October 31st. Later on November 4th, the investigator into these bunny incidents stated that upon interviewing everyone in the case that may have had knowledge of any incidents concerning a white rabbit, there has been no significant information uncovered that would lead to the identity of the person or persons that were posing as a white rabbit. The case will be marked as inactive. And from this point on, there's a couple different renditions on how this story affects the present day. But it's said that if you go to Bunnyman Bridge on Halloween night, that you'll encounter the Bunnyman and that he will hunt you down and slaughter you with his axe. There's also another, more paranormal rendition of the story, where supposedly the bridge itself was built near an old Civil War era railroad station. So there might also be some sort of Civil War ghost around the area that manifests as the Bunnyman ghost, or some sort of spirit that feeds off the energy of the previous Bunnyman killings. But that's the legend anyways. Now with most urban legends, there's the story and then there's the truth. So if you're a devout follower of the Bunnyman legend, you might want to skip to this part of the video, because I'm about to bust this legend. So while the events of the 1970s did occur, or were at least reported about, the origin story has a couple holes in it. First of all, there was never an insane asylum in Clifton, Virginia, and there was never a Douglas Griffin. And whatever prison the inmates were supposed to be transferred over to didn't even exist until 1910. I'm pretty sure these non-existent inmates weren't just sitting on a bus for 6 years. And so if none of this even existed, then there was never a manhunt in the forest surrounding Clifton, Virginia, and there were never any dead rabbits hanging from trees. The origin story is completely made up. I'm sorry. And also, from all that I've been able to find, there actually doesn't seem to be anything connecting Bunnyman Bridge to anything related to the 1970 incidents. Somehow, this random bridge in the middle of some backwoods road got roped into incidents that took place in the town next door. Both of these cases reported by the Washington Post occurred in Burke, Virginia, not Clifton, and they weren't anywhere near Bunnyman Bridge, which really should just be called Colchester Bridge. In fact, the guy who did the most research into this urban legend, Brian Conley, seems to think that Bunnyman Bridge was nothing more than a nearby local teen party spot and a creepy looking and potentially dangerous bridge that got incorporated into the story. And from the information that I could find, that sounds about right. There is no piece of evidence out there that should be connecting this bridge to anything involving the Bunnyman incidents of the 1970s, other than teenage word of mouth. However, that doesn't discount the events that did take place. There was still some axe-throwing man dressed as a bunny that attacked a couple in their car in October of 1970. And there was some strange guy dressed as a bunny chopping away at some house in front of a security guard. But that's about it. Whoever the kids and teenagers were at the time of these incidents were really the ones to have spread this legend, which in itself isn't really founded on much other than some dude looking like a rabbit carrying an axe. And the investigator into these two incidents said as much when he stated that the people who have seen this so-called white rabbit have been children of rather young ages and the complainant in this case. So that's about it. Now, one interesting piece of note is that in the second incident, the security guard stated that the man appeared to be in his early 20s. So unless he decided to use that hatchet on himself, this bunny man could still be alive today. But despite the bridge being unrelated to anything, there are definitely some creepy things still going on around there, especially in this past year, where a man was apparently murdered just 900 feet from the bridge.
Discovery at a Fairfax County neighborhood this morning. A man's body found along the side of a road.
The body was found right near this railroad bridge. It's known as the Bunnyman Bridge. It's a crazy urban legend that draws hordes of teenagers to this part of rural Fairfax County every Halloween. The road was closed for hours as crime scene detectives poured over the spot where the body was found along the two-lane winding road. Of particular interest was the embankment. A crime scene photographer took many pictures of whatever he found there.
And as if that wasn't creepy enough, just 1 month later in May, there was another homicide in Clifton, with similar reports of upper body trauma. And unfortunately, that's all the information I could find about these two murders. There doesn't seem to have been anything else written about these two cases since May of 2018. So I'm not sure what the hell happened here, but it sure doesn't help the creepiness factor of this bridge. Now, after looking it up, I found out that there's a lot of kids who actually end up getting arrested at the tunnel here, because they are literally trespassing on private railroad property, and the locals do get pissed off around here having a bunch of teenagers hanging around their property. But, you know, when you only live a few minutes away from the place, and when it has such a famous history and atmosphere surrounding it, you kinda just have to say screw it and head on over there. And that's exactly what I did. So I grabbed a dirtbag friend of mine.
What's up, man?
And we hit the road onto Bunnyman Bridge. Will we see the Bunnyman? Will we be murdered? Will we be haunted for the rest of our lives? Well, let's find out. This is the Juice Adventures. Our journey took us from Woodbridge, Virginia, all the way over to the town of Clifton in Fairfax County. And as if it wasn't already scary enough, by pure coincidence, on this night, there just so happened to be a full moon out. As we made our way towards the bridge, the landscape around us became noticeably more rural. We were in the Virginia backwoods.
Do not enter. Do not enter.
Deep in these Virginia swamps, you hear many scary stories from the locals who have encountered strange apparitions in the night and unexplainable ghostly events. This land is also tainted with the bloody past of the American Civil War. Could there be any deranged spirits roaming these lands? As we got closer to the bridge, I asked my dirtbag friend about his thoughts on what we might encounter tonight. Alright, what do you think we're going to find?
Not sure. It's pretty creepy out here, though.
We're about to come up on this Bunnyman Bridge.
Shit.
How do you feel?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna get scared. Oh, man. So wait, is like the Bunnyman like a ghost, or like is he a person, or?
You know, the documents actually weren't really clear about that. That's the tunnel.
Oh fuck!
There it is. We made 2 pass-throughs of the tunnel before we decided to step out and take a look for ourselves. See you Bunnyman around here? Well, it's hard to see anything, but it's Bunnyman Bridge.
What the fuck's going on here right now?
What do you think?
Fucking scared, to be honest, dude. Shit.
Well, there's nothing here.
I don't think we should be here right now, dude.
What, should we go?
I mean, we're already here right now. We should just check in and head up quick.
Alright, well, there's nothing here. This is it.
Dude, what the fuck is that?